tech world is always changing and data science is no exception. So you will need to be committed to continuous learning. If you prefer a career that doesn't require constant upskilling, this might feel like a burden. I was built a super clean resume. So you don't want look like wordy novel, right? So keep it simple. And when I started getting interview calls, I was like, yes, time to shine. But well, honestly, I would say it depends. It depends on your field, your goal, and how much you are ready to invest in terms of time and money. In data science, you will spend a lot of time fixing messy data before you can even think about analyzing it. How to understand your data? So data has this different story. If you understand very well to your data, it gives us answer. But the question is, Chaitanya, should student that young, 10 or 16, really dive into something as a complex as a data science and machine learning? All courses are created equally. Some are really structured and offer a lot of value, while other are just marketing material.
If you could have a robot best friend, what would you name it?
Doraemon.
Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we have an exceptional guest joining us, Namita Gaund. Namita is currently working as a data scientist at MikoWork, a dynamic Japanese startup making waves in the industry. Before this, she spent 2 impactful years as a data scientist Bajaj Housing Finance Limited and nearly 4 years at Findability Sciences as a data analyst, sharpening her skills and building strong foundation in the field. What's truly remarkable about Namita is her resilience and determination. She has been through over 100 plus job interviews for data scientist role, gaining invaluable insights into the hiring processes, challenges, and opportunities in the data science industry. She holds a master's degree in statistics from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, showcasing her deep academic expertise. In this episode, we'll dive into some of the hottest and most relevant topics in data science today. So stay tuned and don't miss a single moment. Let's give a warm welcome to Namita Gaund. Hey, hi Namita, how are you?
Fine. What about you?
I'm good. First of all, Namita, thank you so much for coming to my podcast and accepting my invitation and giving us time for this recording.
Thank you so much for giving me also. This is the opportunity to hear today. I'm really excited to join this conversation. Yeah. Sounds thank you.
Yes. So, Namita, my first question is you to that. Could you share your educational background and professional journey so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I completed my master in statistics, which give me a strong fundamental in numbers, data, and how to make sense of them. Honestly, I didn't know that this would become such a hot career path. It just felt like the right fit because I have been that person of like little bit curious about the data, how to handle this, and I am love to solve a puzzle. And yeah, after my degree, I was fortunate enough to get selected as an analyst role through a campus placement. So this was my official entry into this data world, and it's been a quite a journey since then. So over that past year, I have worked in three different companies. So right now I am working on startup one. So I start with a large organization where I got learn the rope working with the structure process, big team and large data set. Over a time I realized I wanted to explore roles when I take on more ownership and wear multiple hats. So now I am working at a startup. It's a completely different ball game. So startup as a fast pace, unpredictable, but here also I got lot of rooms to experiment, innovate, and really make an impact with my learning process actually. So I'm working on some really cool data science project. So helping the company leverage data to grow and make smarter decisions. So looking back, I think every step in my career has helped me grow out and not just in terms of skills, but also in terms of how I approach problem, work with the different mindset of people. And hey, the journey will is still going on, and so who knows where I will me next level. So that is.
Yeah, so Namita, it is great to know about your professional journey and education background so far. So my next question is you to that, what sparks your interest in data science and how did you decide to pursue as a career? At what point of your life you get to know that Namita Gound is made for the data scientist?
Oh, honestly, I have to admit, when I first started, I didn't even know much about data science. It wasn't a planned thing at all. So after my master in statistics, I got placed through a campus, and then when I really got introduced in this field, so once I got in, I realized just how fascinating this word is. So what I love about data science is that it's like solving a mystery. Every data set has a real different story, and it's to you to uncover it. So I'm curious person by nature. I love research, digging into details and figuring out things out. So, and in this field, there are always something new to learn, new challenges and new algorithm, new way to finding some insights. From my first job to where I'm now, I am very lucky to work with some incredible talent, intelligent folk also. So they are not just good at what they make playing with the data very easy way and in fun type. So watching them handling complex problems really inspire me and help me grow. So yeah, I would say it wasn't a love at first sight situation. It was more like an opportunity that turns into my passion. So, and now, like I can't imagine doing anything else. So it's exciting, challenging. Honestly, it never get boring to me. So that is thing.
It's really something special, and I can say the amazing thing you are doing, and you decided to be a data scientist. Okay, so Namita, my next question is you to that: how did you approach the job application process? What strategies help you to secure into your interview calls and crack interviews? Could you share a tips on resume building, also job application and interview preparation?
So when I started applying for a job, first thing I did, I was build a super clean resume. So you don't want look like a wordy novel, right? So keep it simple, highlight your key skill and experiences. So I also made sure to show result like I improved this and I help with that. Okay, so like this is one of my strategy when I build up my resume. I didn't. And another point I want to like suggest to all, I didn't just send the same resume everywhere. Tailor it each job, like how you would pick the right out for an interview, not the same like for each occasion, every occasion. Correct? I applied on a job portal like LinkedIn and Naukri, but I did some like stacking. I mean, like when I connecting with the LinkedIn on LinkedIn with people from companies, I like often gave them like that extra boost for me. If they like and interested in your resume, they will pass your resume. So reference is always important and they consider first. And when I started getting interview calls, I was like, yes, time to shine. But really, Chaitanya, I knew I had prepared and everyone had to prepare to read. So what I do next, research the company, know their vibe, and be ready. Talk about how you make their life is easy way, how you help them working on complex data set and modeling and machine learning task also. So I practice answer to very common question. Don't hesitate. Don't ignore that common questions like why do you want this job? Tell me about something yourself. Many people they are more knowledgeable, but they don't have confidence. They don't communicate person very softly. So it's okay. It's okay. Always okay. Prepare. Trust me, you don't want to freeze up on this. Correct. So like for technical interviews, I spend lot of time to solve a problem. Honestly, I felt like I was training for a like mental Olympic. But hey, it really worked for me. But this is my process, and it really works, truly works. So I suggest build a solid resume, tailor those application like you are picking you are out for the job. Do your homework. Just like you are about to workout session and throw in some networks and you will be a golden. So that is my strategy that I want to share you.
As per my information, you also conducted the interviews, right? You took the interviews of the many students or the many aspirants. So what red flags you see most of the interviewers? What are the top 5 red flags in the interview?
See, interviewer wants to they wants to come in, okay, but many students they don't complete their homework properly. Actually, if you are interview for data analyst, prepare that questions properly, like what is the data, the size, how to handle these, the basic questions, SQL related queries. Like interview is not asking you very hard question; they ask simple, but you have to prepare some kind of homework. If many people do, they do if they don't know the answer, they take a long pause. But I suggest take some 2 minutes or 1 minute pause and simply admit that I didn't get right now the answer, but will prepare. Can you please ask a next question? So I am weak. Like just honestly admit that thing. So I really suggest for a fresher to do homework properly. Don't go very complex study and but you do simple one. See which kind of questions they ask, you just prepare first those. Okay, that's the things I wanted to suggest to many students and freshers.
Yes, yes, yes. And my question is that how did you catch any interviewer that he or she is telling lie in the interview?
Many time I ask simple questions like, do you know the how to check correlation? So which test is used for what purpose? So I am specifically asking for numerical to check a numerical target and numerical independent variables independent. So they giving me another answer. So which is not proper and seems like they are giving some another one. They know what they know. They give me answer. What I want, be specific. In a word, in short word, be specific for answer. You are giving another one, so it's not work well.
Yes, yes, yes. So my next question is to you, Namita, regarding the master's degree. Okay. So is pursuing a master's degree still worth it in 2025? We see a growing trends of students looking to study abroad for their masters instead of choosing a program in India. So what do you think is driving this shift? Is it quality, opportunity, or something else?
Master degree question, always good one. So it's still worth in 2025. Well, honestly, I would say it depends. It depends on your field, your goal, and how much you are ready to invest in terms of time and money. This, which is too important to us. So, but yes, there are definitely growing trends of choosing to study abroad for their masters instead of sticking to program in India. And I think there are full of reasons to driving this shift. So first one is the quality of education, opportunity factor, exposure. Quality of education is a big Chaitanya. So many students feel that universities abroad offer research, better faculties, more specialized program in this field, like specifically in data AI, newly updating, always updating. So like AI, data science or business management. Some of the top universities abroad have more advanced facilities and students often have chance to work with a global expert. Okay, this one is the most more active and pretty much attractive reason for a student to go abroad. Second one is opportunity pack. Master from international university can open doors of global career opportunities. It gives student the chance to network internationally. So nowadays networking is very important any every field. Okay, so when you are abroad, like there are places UK, Europe, US, so where the job market might be more diverse. And next one, exposure. Studying abroad offer a chance to experience different culture, lifestyle, and way of thinking. So plus their added bonus of building a global network again. So it's a very useful today's world, interconnected words. Okay, so again about India, so don't forget, like India is a catching very fast. Okay, we have got some top universities offering strong programs, and as more companies are setting in India, so there are more opportunities right here at home also. I think for many one, the idea of studying abroad offer a bit of dream experience, getting that international exposure, living in a new country, and just having abroad for it's a mixed quality of opportunity that desire for a global exposure, whether it's worked or not really depend on what you want out of the experience, okay, and where you see yourself in the future. So it's a mix of like thought. Actually, it depends on how you invest your time and money. This is main fact. So yeah, this is my answer on this.
Yes. It's really important to how you invest your money and time, because there are still many people who haven't pursued master's degrees in India also, but they are well settled in Google or the fab companies in outside of India.
Yes, that is.
So, next question is my base question of the for the data scientist. Okay, Navita. So, what tool techniques or subjects should students focus on the building a strong foundation for a successful career in data science?
If you are aiming for a career in data science, there are few key tools and subjects that really lay a solid foundation. So just not about learning the latest tech, it's about understanding the fundamentals, and that it's building up from here. So first of all, programming. Programming is your best friend. Like most data science job will require you to comfortable with R and Python, and also the SQL. So these languages are the backbone of data analysis, machine learning, and even deep learning also. So yeah, if you just start, I would say focus on Python, since it's a super versatile and widely used in this field. So Python is must. So comfortable with Python first. Again, like subject next is like statistics and mathematics. Many students and everyone, they don't like maths, statistics also. But seriously, a good understanding of probability, distribution, and linear algebra is essential. Not big type of concepts, but little fundamental kind of things. So these concepts are core of how data science algorithm is work. So don't skip them even if you are not going to be calculating integral every day. So understanding the maths help you trust the models you are building and interpret. So just I suggest not go deeply, but just learn the concept, how algorithm is work, what's maths behind it. So that one, when you are in data science field or data analyst, so you can't ignore the data manipulation and analysis tools. For them, I suggest learn a libraries like Pandas for data manipulation, NumPy for numerical computing. Okay, so these two libraries are awesome. Just learn those libraries first, and these are crucial for cleaning data and be real in data science. There is it's probably 7% of job in data science. You will spend a lot of time fixing messy data before you can even think about analyzing it. Correct? So on the top of that, data visualization is a key. Like when that tools like Matplotlib, Seaborn, or even a Tableau can help you communicate your finding effectively. You might have all the numbers in the world. So, but if you can't present them in a in present way or a way that makes sense to other, so it won't matter much. And again, courses, machine learning. I mean, like we are talking about data science, right? Get familiar algorithm like linear regression, decision tree, random forest, clustering, neural network.
Neural network.
Neural networks is a deep learning, but if you are start, just I suggest go through the linear, how linear regression is work, how decision tree is work, random forest, XGBoost, this one.
Adaboost.
Yeah, yeah, boosting algorithm also the and the tree. So regression, classification, and also the times related algorithms, ARIMA, auto ARIMA, these things. And if you don't need to build everything from, but understand how model work and how to implement them in super important. So for more advanced stuff, it's deep learning. The tool like TensorFlow, PyTorch are becoming more important, especially if you want to dive into field like computer vision and neural language processing. Yeah, don't worry about those right now. If you are starting, build a solid base first. So priority, finally, keep the real world data, whether it's through internship, personal project, or Kaggle competition. Kaggle competition, like they are give you a most actual data set, because the theory is one another thing, but real data can be messy and unpredictable. So you have to work on this. So focus on programming first, statistics, machine learning, data visualization, And of course, keep learning experience, do experiments. And data science, one of those field where you can never do much.
And what is your point of view about the feature engineer EDA, that is exploratory data analysis?
This is very like 70%. I again said the 70% is modeling is very different and easy part. I feature engineering, generating feature. If you generate feature, valuable feature, and there is no target leakage, then your model work well. Simply, how to understand your data. So data has this different story. If you understand very well to your data, it gives us answer finally. So what is my target? How the independent variables is related to my target? So it's like finding something to get something to get target final output. It's really important. EDA, actually I like EDA. I'm not kind of like not enjoying in modeling part, but I like EDA. I'm expert in EDA actually. I am supporter to like in my team. I do EDA. I implement so many correlation tests, and nowadays it's very easy also because so many libraries are very well constructed. They give you nice options. So EDA is very important. Basically, you just focus firstly on EDA. That's actually the nice question. Everyone is ignoring EDA and they only work on modeling. Not that. Data science is basically in that.
Yes, yes, right. Yeah, so Namita, my next question is very important because I have done the many podcasts, but this question I'm asking for the first time for any guest, because I noticed this thing very well in last 2 months, that many polytechnic and engineering colleges in India have introduced a 3 years program in data science and machine learning for students who have completed their 10th grade, that is 10th standard, around the age of 15 or 16. Do you think this an appropriate age start such an advanced course? And considering this complexity of this field, can student at this age handle the academic and psychological stress in this age? And is it the good or bad decision for their future? What is your perspective on this?
This program are definitely become more popular, correct? Because data science is the field nowadays is very demanding one. But the question is, Chaitanya, should student that young, 10 or 16, really dive into something as a complex as a data science and machine learning? So, well, first, I think is really depend on the student. Some might be super interested in this field from a young age and have the mental maturity to handle it, correct? But the other side, this could feel like diving into deep into soon. So the complexity of data science and machine learning can't be overstated. So you are dealing with a lot of math, coding, and abstract concept. At teen or still, lot of students are still figuring out like what they actually want. So what they actually want to do with their lives, correct? So it could be a bit overwhelming. So there are big difference between learning something as a general interest and dealing with the pressure of mastering these skills in a formal course structure. So there are a couple of positive to start early. So these fields are growing rapidly, and if students are really interested and committed, starting young could give them a head start. There will be a more time to learn, experiment, and build real world projects, which is a huge advantage when it comes to landing job in the future. Plus, younger students might have better adaptability to take and new tools, which is a huge plus in this industry because there is always something we like here this new concept enter in data science field, correct? And but like academic and psychological stress, you asking me a question like the pressure of balancing tough subject at a young age could lead to be a burnout. Student might not have developed the emotional resilience or mechanism to handle the workload. So not every 15 and 16-year-old is ready for it. It's important that students have room to explore their interest in other areas also. So not jump into something because it just next big thing. And also a long-term perspective, if a student is really passionate and they have the right support system, like teacher, mentor, and healthy study environment could be a great decision, good decision. If they do just going along with because it's just a trendy subject, trendy field, so it just is not good for them because could lead to issue down the road. Okay, and in my opinion, Chaitanya, while starting early can be a beneficial, it's a crucial that the focus isn't just on academic. There should be a balance between study, personal growth, and time to figure out what you truly want to do. Is it a good decision or not? It depends on the student, their interest, and the kind of support they have. If they are passionate, it could be a great opportunity. But if they are not sure yet, maybe it's better to explore and figuring out like before jumping into such a intense course. Correct. So it totally depend upon the student. But I think explore first what you want in your future. So yeah, this is my opinion about this three after 10 course.
So, will they get placed in any of the good company after completing that 3-year diploma?
Yes, they easily get the job because if a student is committed and do very well and they know about how to handle the data, how to finding the insight, and they have a degree because it's a proper degree, a structurized degree. You know, any we start any program 3 years of data science program, so absolutely we structurize all the subjects and all the things, how to handle the data, how to do EDAs, what actually the mechanism of like algorithms, neural networks. If they know very well and if they handle in project, so yeah, and they have a degree, that is the plus point. So they get a job. But again, if that student is interested, passionate about data science or data analysis, is specific that field, they get job, no doubt.
But Namita, the many of the job roles in their description, they have the criteria to complete at least the bachelor's degree. But this is not a bachelor's degree. This is a polytechnic degree that comes under another board, not under any university. So my question is that this is a polytechnic degree, okay,
But
not engineering one.
But in data science field, I see one of my colleague. They don't have a degree, but he is a good knowledge of data science, algorithm, and everything. He get a job. Okay, data science is just not like the field. Degree actually important, but knowledge is and the skills how to handle the data properly in complex data set. So we get the job. But here is in data science, I observe there are in a field in different field like commerce field, art, or some MBA students, they also enter in this field. So there is a no, I think such a criteria is background is needed for a data science. Yeah, degree is important, but we in Maharashtra we doing this such a 3 years polytechnical course. So like I didn't think so. They don't get any job thing. They get a job because 3 years, I think in Maharashtra, like there are so many engineering students also for engineers also, correct?
Right.
Yeah, they get a job. If you have a skill, knowledge, and this is also a degree, we can consider this is a degree. We specifically give our 3 years for a particular subject or field. So it is a degree and you are skillful. Okay. Yeah. So I think you get a job is not kind of that struggle you have to do in that.
Yeah, my point of view is on this. Like, yeah, no doubt, anyone can take this course. Any of the student who completed, he or she completed the 10th standard. But before choosing this course, by saying any another relatives or the friends or the family, you can test yourself. You can go at least 5 data scientists who are 1 year of experience, 5 years of experience, at 20 years of experience at least, and you can check yourself how good fit you are for this on your all academic background. Okay, from the first standard to the 10th standard, because they will give you the reality check of yourself, how you are good fit, how much percent you are good in this job, and then you can decide. You can go through each and every curriculum part, what the subjects are in that all the 3 years. You can check that all the subjects on YouTube, okay, what they teach in that subject. And after making this all the studies, you can counsel yourself and then decide you can enter the job or not.
Actually, it's important. It's depend on the student, Chaitanya, their interest and the kind of support they have again. And if they are passionate, it could be a great opportunity. But if they not sure yet, maybe it's a better to explore. Saying you are just telling that to explore, to meet 1 year or 2 year experience of a data scientist or data analyst, how they work, what actually in that, if that coding programming, math interest you. Okay, so you are passionate, you like coding, then and then just choose this field. I suggest. If you are just you choosing for a trendy, it's not good for you.
Because this fancy word also AIML. Fancy word.
Fancy word, and everyone is passionating about the generative AI. Now is generative AI, advanced
Gen-
framework kind of thing. They are very passionate. Like मैं तो ये कर लूँगा kind of thing. But actually in that there is so many things that needed. You should be learn that fundamental foundation. It's very important.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Navita, my next question is about the personal projects. Can you suggest the types of personal projects students and aspirants should work on?
Personal projects like the secret sauce to building a career. So especially in a field of data science, programming and tech related area. So they allow you to put everything you learn into practice and most importantly showcase your skill in a real world context. Personal projects are a great way to demonstrate your passion. When you are applying for a job, a well done personal project says a lot more than just your degree or resume. So it shows that you are proactive, self-motivated, and willing to learn beyond what tough in class. So companies love seeing candidates who have worked on something outside of this coursework because it means you have practical knowledge or experience and can apply your knowledge. For example, let's say you are into a data science. You can work on project like analyzing dataset from Kaggle, building predictive models, or even creating a recommendation system. So not only will you learn a ton, but you will also have something tangible to show up during the interviews. Correct? So this is very important. So type of project, few ideas like if you are in data science, try working with a data set that interesting you, whether it's sport, stat, and stock market data, even analyzing social media trend. Okay, this is also a trending one. So the key is to make it project you are passionate about, so you will stick it. That is important actually. And remember, the key is consistency. Don't worry if your project isn't next big thing. What there is the process. Learning new skill, troubling should problems, and applying your knowledge in a practical setting. And if you fail along the way, that's okay. It's all part of learning process. So at the end of the day, personal projects help build your portfolio, give you something to talk about in interviews, and more importantly, they help you grow as a professional. So yeah.
Recently, we talk about the tools, subjects, and techniques that are beneficial for the data science field. You tell us many points about that point. So, next, my question is that so, Navita, can you tell us that what resources would you recommend for self learning in data science and data analytics? Like any specific book online from like any YouTube channel or Instagram page, because many of the students they are proactive on the social media platform, and that will be beneficial for in this thing if they follow that page or subscribe that any YouTube channel. Look into that content.
There are a ton of amazing resources are available for a learner. If you like a self-paced learning, there is a solid book. One of my favorite one is Python for data analysis, and also another one hands-on machine learning with Learn Keras and Tensor. Which one is the great one? And if you are want to study statistics, which is a super important in data science, Art of Statistics. Okay, this is amazing book also. If you are more interested in advanced learner like deep learning, there's a good fellow is a must you must read if you are serious about machine learning and neural networks. But don't worry if you are not there yet. Good long term goal actually. Aside from books and courses, there is an YouTube channels, and everyone knows who are working with in this field actually data science, data analyst. Everyone knows Krish Naik.
Yes, yes.
You heard the name of Krish Naik. If you not, then
You are not updated in data science.
yes, actually, Krish Naik, he explained very nicely, very humble way, very soft way, each and every concept. Again, you heard the name of Campus X, also mathematical term and how algorithm works. and in simple way actually, and also code basic doubles. Yeah, so these three, I like these three because they are gurus of all one. So yeah, I recommend that one. There are so many channels. If I don't know, I think for others is different. Basically, I follow these three gurus of data science, and also GitHub is a fantastic one platform. So yeah, this I recommend to all.
Yeah, so Namita, my next question is to you that what are some key courses or certification that has been particularly valuable in this field of data science and analytics?
Certification and courses, they can definitely help you stand out in a data science and analytic words, especially since this field is a constantly evolving. But let me tell you, while certification are great, the real value comes from gaining practical skills and that you can apply right away. So one of the most well known and respected courses is the Coursera Data Science Specialization by John King University. It's a series of 10 courses that cover everything from R programming to data cleaning and machine learning. It's one of the most popular beginner to intermediate courses out there and can really give you a solid foundation. If you are more into Python and want to focus on that, so Udacity Data Scientist, one of the good choice. This program dives into Python, machine learning, deep learning, and has a real world project that you can showcase. It's more hands on, which is great if you are someone who learn by doing. The course is designed like that. Another great course is Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate on Coursera. It's ideal for beginners and cover essential topics like data cleaning, data visualization, and SQL. It also very affordable, and Google's name behind it can add a lot of credibility your resume. So, and for those interested in machine learning, Andrew NG machine learning course on Coursera is a legendary. So if you haven't heard of, where have you been? This course has been a staple for a data scientist for a year and covers everything from basic algorithm to more advanced concepts, taught by Andrew NG, who co-founded Coursera and is a leader in AI. If you are interested in SQL and data management, a certification like Microsoft Data Science certification, so it could be very useful. It covers SQL, database management, and more, which is essential skill working with the data. Okay, so for advanced learner, something like deep learning specialization, again Andrew Ng, which is one great one. And don't forget about Kaggle. While not a formal certification, Kaggle is a competition or like one of the best way to practice real world data science skills. It's not just about solving problems. It's about learning how to work with messy data, collaborating with others, and even getting noticed by companies who hire through a Kaggle. Okay. So lastly, don't forget WN Power BI certification are worth considering if you want to focus on data visualization. So these tools are widely used in a business analytics, and being certified in them can show employers that you know how to present data. These certification courses are really important. They give the knowledge of real world projects, and continuous learning are just as important nowadays. So many employers can more about your ability to solve problem and apply what you have learned to real data that just having a shiny certificate on your resume.
Yes. Yeah, so Namita, my next question is to regarding the courses certification only because the many of the students and aspirants have this question in their mind. So what is your take or point of view on pursuing certification camp or courses for career growth? Many software companies like Microsoft or Salesforce now offering course directly on their website, while the same content is also available on the third-party platforms like Coursera or even for a free on YouTube platform. How should students decide between these options, especially when company website often charging significantly more than the other platforms? What is your advice would you give to them?
Again, it's a very great question, Chaitanya. So this is something a lot of people are thinking about this day, correct? And I totally get the confusion here. So there are so many options out there. It like a way of learning. But let me break it down. First off, certification, boot camp, and online courses can definitely help career growth. But here, things like not all courses are created equal. Like some are really structured and offer a lot of value, while other are just marketing material. So the trick is figuring out what's worth your time and money. So now when it comes to, you said in a question, like company sponsored courses like those from Google, Microsoft, or AWS, they can be awesome, especially if you are looking to build expertise in a specific platform or tool. These courses are often well designed and directly tied to the skills companies what they need. So however, as you mentioned, so they can be pretty pricey, and that where third party platform like Coursera, Udacity, and even YouTube come in. So, like again, I recommend deciding between them, like what's your goal. So, if you want to become a certified expert in a specific tool or platform, then company's certification can be a great. For example, if you are aiming for AWS certification or Google Data Analytic certificate, it makes sense to get straight to the source because they are highly recognized in the industry. So that is a reality. Cost and value. You really have to think about the value for money. So sometimes company courses can be expensive, but the recognition that comes with however, if you are looking to learn the basic or explore a field like data science, then are plenty affordable or even free options out there on a platform like Coursera, again YouTube, which is very good, I think so, for a learner, or if you want to start a career and research kind of thing on data science. So YouTube and Coursera, nice one. Like YouTube is, I think, important, and this platform partners with universities and companies, so you get top notch content at a fraction of the cost. Flexibility. Platform like Coursera, Udacity usually offer flexible schedules and allow to learn at your own pace. Okay, this is more important because flexibility. Now, it student like that one, flexibility. Practical experiences. Another thing to consider, how much hands-on experience course provides. You could learn all the theory in the world. Okay, if you are not applying it, it's not valuable. So some from like Udacity or Kaggle offer a great opportunity to work on real world project, which is the key when you are building a career. And again, also you mention and also you explain, so do your research. Look a review from others who taken the course. Sometimes you can find information that will help you figuring out whether it's worth it. Plus, a lot of time people post their certification and what job they have landed afterward. So, which can give you a better sense of effectiveness. So, my advice: if you are starting out, don't rush into spending a ton of money right away. Explore free and lower cost option first. See how much you can learn, and then if you are ready to more in-depth specialized knowledge, you can look at higher cost certification or bootcamp. So, but always remember, learning is a journey. So, the most important thing is building a skill that you can truly apply in the real world. So, yeah, don't caught up in just chasing certification. Look for ones that will you real value. So, yeah, learn from everywhere.
Yes, yes, it's really wonderful point of view that you have shared with us. That is really valuable for the all the students and aspirants. So, Namita, my next question is very, very important because on this point only, the peoples are here to work in the data science field or the data analytics field. That is salary. Feed their family to make their dreams comes true. The salary is very important part in this all the field. So, Namita, my question is that there is a noticeable salary disparity between Indian branch and global branches of multinational companies, especially in a role like data scientist or data analytics. Why do you think these companies pay significant less in India compared to their branches US, UK, or Europe? Should the Indian government address this issue to create a more equality environment? What is your view on this?
This is a really interesting topic, and honestly, it's one that a lot of people are talking about this day. So, let me break it down again. Salary disparity between Indian branches and global branches of multinational companies is driven by a few key factors. So, first one is the cost of living. It's play a massive role. In countries like US, UK, and Europe, cost of living is significantly higher than in India. Okay, and company adjusts salaries based on that. So it is important one. So for example, you might get paid more in the US because you need more money to afford things like rent, healthcare, transportation, and even everyday's expenses. Another factor is marketation. Salary are influenced by local market standard. In the US and European, the demand of certain roles like data scientist or data analyst is extremely high, and companies have to pay premium to attract talent. Okay, it's important. On the other hand, in India, we everyone knows there are a larger supply of skilled professional in this field, and the competition is a bit different and difficult. So the salary therefore align more with the local job market dynamic. So also companies tend to treat their Indian branches as a cost centers, meaning they are designed to help the company save money by outsourcing tasks. And while Indian professionals are very skilled, companies may not always pay the same way they would in the headquarters, because it's still seen as a place to cut cost. And about Indian government, it's that is bit tricky. While government can influence minimum wages or labor laws, creating a level playing field globally is a bigger challenges. The government can certainly promote education, skill development, and job creation programs to help bridge the gap. But at the end of the day, markets and global competition for a talent play a big role in a salary differences. Actually, government is not decided how much we salary. They don't decide, but they can do these things like education, promoting more education, job creation programs. It will help. And in my opinion, the real solution might be in a companies recognizing the value of Indian talent and paying fairly for their skills rather than just treating it as a place to save cost. Plus, you look at it, India is emerging as a tech hub with a growing number of startups and big tech companies expanding their operations here, and which is definitely a step in the right direction. And like to sum up this, while the government can definitely help the education and policy, and that the change might come more from companies rethinking how they compensate talent globally. The goal should be paying people based on their skill and value, not just a location.
Yes, so Namita, my next question is you that very important about the recession and competition. In 2025, the market is too saturated, too competitive in India. So how does the recession and competition in the data industry affect job opportunities? Based on your experience, are there months in India when challenges are more?
So the recession and competition definitely have an impact on data industry like they do any other industry or any other sector also. During recession, companies often reduce their hiring budget, even freeze hiring altogether. So it's like a economical down puts a bit damper on the job market, and companies become more conscious about where they spending money. In data related roles, we might see slower hiring, fewer openings for things like data scientists and data analysts. Competition also plays huge roles, in especially in India, because in India there is a population, and again there is a too much talent. So the data field has exploded in popularity over the past few years, and it's a great field, but more people are entering it. There is more competition for a same job. So, and when the market is tighter due to a recession, it become even more difficult to stand out. It's actually both are simultaneously different way, but they freeze job hiring process. So in terms of timing, sometimes it slow down in July to September as companies take a break during the summer, or something like re-evaluate their hiring plans for a second half of the year. Sometimes is also we see Jan to March is a slow period in India when it comes to hiring. So this is a right after the budgeting season. So right, companies tend to start the year with a more conscious approach before they get back into full hiring mode. Okay, so this after budgeting is a good one for a hiring. So, but recession, Chaitanya, are temporary, and competition always exists in some form. So the key is to adapt and keep improving your skill. Companies might tighten their belts, but those who with strong skills, with experience, and they get more job opportunities. So yeah, keep learning, and it's a long run actually.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Namita, my final question is you that why should an Indian student choose data science or data analytics as a career, and why should not? Could you share your balanced opinion for aspiring students?
This question I get a lot, and really important one, especially for students trying to decide their career. Let's start with the reason why an Indian students should consider their data science and data analyst career. Okay, first, demand is very high. Everyone knows nowadays, like huge demand for data professional across industries like finance, healthcare, e-commerce, and more. So companies are realizing the importance of data driven decisions. Next is a salary, track to salary. While there's still a salary disparity in India compared to a global standards, the pay of data science role is definitely above average when you compare to many other fields. Another one is growth potential and also variety of roles. Data science isn't just about the coding and crunching numbers. You can go into data engineering, machine learning, data analyst, business intelligence. So depending on what interests you, the variety gives you a lot of flexibility, the pivot within the. So this is the factors are very good. So you can just consider this one if you like want to career in data science field. And another one is at the another side of coin, why you might not want to pursue data science or data analytics as a career. So it's not for everyone. Be real. Data science can be challenging and demanding. It requires strong mathematics, coding skills, good understanding of machine learning algorithm. So if you are not interested in numbers or programming, so this field may be the best for you. Another is a constant learning. Take word is always changing, and data science is no exception. So you will need to be committed to continuous learning. If you prefer a career that doesn't require constant upskilling, this might feel like a burden. Another one is a pressure and stress. As a data scientist, you might often work under tight deadline and pressure to deliver the result. The job can be mentally demanding, especially when dealing with a large data set or working on complex data set or models. So if you are not comfortable with a fast paced environment, might not for you. And not always create that another one another main point is while there are a lot of room for creating in the problem solving part of data science. If you are looking for a career where you can express your artistic side, this field may not offer the kind of outlet. It more about logic and reasoning than creativity. So if you are someone who enjoy problem solving, math and learning new technology, and if you can handle a bit of pressure and constant skilling, data science or data analytics can be a fantastic career for you. But if you are not interested in these areas or you feel overwhelming by the complexity, then may be take a step back and look at the other career path. So at the end of the day, Chaitanya, pursue what excites you. Don't choose something just because it's trending. Choose it because you enjoy it and can see yourself growing in this in that field. So yes, I hope so. You like the answer.
Yes, yes, it's a really wonderful point of view on to why to choose and why to not choose. You have gave the perfect answer, I can say, that can students should listen this. Yeah. So Namita, I have created some funny type of rapid fire questions. So should we start with the rapid fire round?
Yes,
Yeah.
fine.
So my first question is to you that AI or human intelligence, who would win in a chess match in 2023?
AI.
So if your code talk, what would be the one thing it would constantly complaining about you?
कितना वर्क करता है बे?
Next question is that would you trust an AI to write your autobiography?
No.
Okay, so next question is one AI based movie you would wish you were a part of?
There is an Black Panther. They use AI. So
Okay, okay. What is the weirdest dataset you have ever worked with?
very imbalanced data set.
What's more difficult, explaining AI to non-tech people or convincing an AI model to behave?
Explaining the non-tech people.
What is your superpower? Predictive analysis or predicting the next episode on Netflix?
Predictive analytics.
So, if AI could replace one human profession right now, which would it be?
Content writers.
Would you trust an AI to choose your next vacation destination?
Yes.
What's your favorite tech gadget that you can't live without?
Mobile.
You could have a robot best friend. What would you name it?
Doraemon.
If you could program yourself to never sleep, would you do it?
No.
So, if AI took your job tomorrow, what is your new hobby would you pick up?
Sleep.
If AI could predict your future, would you want to know?
No.
Would you trust an AI to pick your outfit for a week?
Actually, yes.
If AI could replace one thing in the kitchen, what should it be?
Whole kitchen.
If you could only communicate with AI using emoji, what would be your favorite emoji?
Laughing.
If you could teach AI one bad habit, what would it be?
Break. After 1 hour, take a break. Tea break, lunch break, tea break.
Structured data set or unstructured data set?
Unstructured data set.
Code in silence or music in background?
Music in background.
Neural network or decision tree?
Both.
Big data or small data set?
Big data set.
Laptop or desktop?
Laptop.
Cloud computing or edge computing?
Cloud comp.
Morning code or late night code?
Late night code.
Smartphone or smartwatch?
Smartphone.
Work from home or work from office?
Work from home.
ChatGPT or Google Bard?
ChatGPT.
Self-driving car or flying cars?
Flying cars.
GitHub or Stack Overflow?
Stack Overflow.
Tech books or YouTube tutorials?
YouTube tutorials.
Mathematics or coding?
Coding.
Android or iOS?
iOS.
SQL or no SQL?
No SQL.
Robots or AI software?
AI software.
Natural language processing or computer vision?
Computer vision.
Speech recognition or face recognition?
Speech recognition.
AI predicting the stock market or AI predicting the weather?
AI predicting stock market.
AI that gossips or AI that never speaks?
Gossip is good, but never.
AI that's smarter than you or robots that funnier than you?
Robot funny than.
Perfect algorithm or perfect vacation?
Perfect vacation.
Infinity data or infinity storage?
Infinity storage.
AI that's too emotional or AI that's emotionless?
AI emotional.
Smart fridge or smart mirror?
Smart mirror.
Robot chef or robot driver?
Robot chef.
What you feel bad? Accidentally delete your code or accidentally delete your vacation photos?
Accidentally delete my code.
Predicting people's moods or predicting people's next move?
And next move.
AI with sense of humor or AI with a sense of style?
AI with same sense of humor.
AI that remembers everything or AI that forgets when you need?
AI with everything, like
AI control house or AI control car?
AI control car.
AI that keeps secrets about you or AI that gossips about you?
Secret about me.
Okay, so last question is that big data with no insights or small data with all the answers?
Big data with no insights.
Yes, that's the whole questions about the rapid fire. Thank you so much, Namita. And really thank you so much for coming to our podcast and accepting invitation. We are planning from last many months to do podcast with you. Finally, it's happening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Actually, I am starting this year with you, and this is very exciting for me. This is I am doing such a things first time. So same, really, I like your questions and hope so you like my answer again. So thank you to inviting me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Namita. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I hope you like this podcast. Please let me know in the comment which guests you would like to see on the podcast and any specific topics you would like us to discuss with them. I will try to bring those guests and ask your questions so you will get more helpful information. Before you go, share this episode with someone. It might really help because one conversation can change person's life and give them idea and new direction. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you in next video.